everybody, and welcome to this episode. You know, there seems to be so much uneasiness and discord within the world these days. You know, often these kind of feelings lead to fear, worry, uncertainty, and these lead to often many anxiety disorders. And did you know that anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the U.S., alone affecting 40 million adults from the ages of 18 to 54, USA alone. Now, you guys, this is a condition that affects everybody worldwide, of course. Now, because things are so chaotic and changing all around us all the time, maybe you're just feeling unnerved or stressed out by it all. You know, when you get such types of anxiety, they tend to create havoc with our lives, especially with our sleeping patterns. And you guys know how important sleep is to our health. It's where we rejuvenate ourselves. And with so much anxiety and stress and all this chaotic stuff going on, many are finding that they're having a hard time even falling to sleep and staying asleep. Now, what about anxiety in your life and how it depletes your energy? I mean, you may be feeling lethargic from all the news and stuff that's going on in your life, or just your own stuff that you have going on. You know, it can deplete your energy and make you feel depressed. And so wouldn't you love to find a real simple, easy way that will help you bring back your health, bring back your great sleep, and also help you feel enthusiastic and back at the helm of your life again? Welcome to Creative Visions TV. I'm your host, Karen Dahlman, and today in this episode, we will be discussing that with one of our previous guests, you guys. We're going to be talking about shifting your energy and healing your life through techniques of meditation. Now, this guest, as I mentioned, has been on the show before. He's been with us about 15 months ago. In fact, he was my kickoff to the new year of 2018. Now, he's infectious, exciting, enthusiastic. I love his energy. We were just chatting before he came on, or he's going to come on, and we were talking about that. Our energy gets together, and we both kind of go, woo, and spiral and bring, such excitement to the show. It's always so much fun to have him here. Now, he's a motivational speaker. He helps millions of people around the world bring success, abundance, prosperity, and health, healing to their lives and in their business lives as well. He's also a master life coach. He's a TV radio host. He's also a fellow author. And as I mentioned, he does great things with people, helping them all the time. He's always pushing himself to new levels and his clients to new levels to find success, to find greatness, personal greatness, and express this within the world. So without further ado, let us welcome back our guest on this episode today, David Essel. Welcome, David.
Hey.
Welcome.
Oh, Karen, it's great to be back with you. And you're right. The minute we started connecting, both of our energies went through the roof, as they should. So I'm so excited to be with you and your audience for sure.
Well, we're happy to have you back. We both work long days, and this is more towards the evening when we're recording this. And he's in Florida, and I'm in California, so it's even later for him. But his energy is just contagious. And like again, when you know how you guys, when you get with somebody where you just have that energy vibration that just resonates so well, that's what he and I do.
That's right. Amen to that. And your statistic is dead on. 40 million people in the USA every day are struggling with anxiety. And one of the things you mentioned, Karen, is sleep. One of the tricky things about anxiety is that a lot of us, it's been going on for so long. Social anxiety is a huge, huge issue in our world today that we don't even notice that the thoughts of anxiety are racing 24/7. And so how do we even know? Well, we say, well, one thing is, you mentioned sleep. Do you have trouble with sleep? Are you an emotional eater? That's a sign of anxiety. Do you overdrink? That's a sign of anxiety. Do you smoke? Guess what? Nicotine is the most powerful anti-anxiety drug you can buy over the market, over the counter. So, I mentioned these things. Do you watch a ton of television? That's a sign of anxiety. Now, why would I say that? Do you listen to a ton of radio? That's a sign of anxiety because television and radio numbs the brain so we don't feel what's really going on. Right, Karen?
And you can check out. That's what allows everything you talked about allows you to do that. And then you may not even understand that you're feeling anxious because you're overexerting yourself in these other areas. And that just kind of takes place of everything else that can be happening in your life. And part of what we're going to talk about today is the self-responsibility, how to empower ourselves within our mind, body, soul, and spirit.
It is up to us. It's up to us to recognize any of the signs that Karen and I talk about today: the emotional eating, the drinking, the smoking, the use of drugs, the distraction of television, radio, gambling, any addiction whatsoever is a sign that we have low self-confidence, low self-esteem, which is caused by anxiety, and also low-grade depression. And those are
Yes.
two totally different conditions, but they go hand in
They
hand
do
many
go hand in
times.
hand. Yes, they
Yeah.
do. Often you'll find someone with an anxiety disorder that will tend to have suicidal ideation as well, or vice versa, because it's so stressful. Think about it, you guys. It's stressful. So you've done some remarkable work with these 4 meditation techniques we're going to get into today. But you have some statistics about, studies that the government's done, doctors have done, and also you have done. You want to share some of that with us today?
Oh, there's some incredible information out there. The National Institutes of Health, our own U.S. government, in the early 90s started studying meditation and relaxation techniques on a regular basis, and they were looking at some of the biggest problems we had in society today. High blood pressure. So they went to South Central LA. They went to, some of the poorest places in the United States, which is South Central Los Angeles, and they went after unemployed, homeless Black men with uncontrolled high blood pressure. And what they wanted to do is say, okay, if we have one of the worst groups that suffers from high blood pressure all the time, uncontrolled, and we do a study that uses meditation and that also uses high blood pressure medication, what's the difference in a long-term study? And what they found, Karen, was phenomenal. That the group that took the meditation course, and they did it 2 times a day for 15 minutes a day, had the same identical reduction in high blood pressure as those who were given medication, but there's a huge benefit here. There's no negative side effects from daily meditation, but these guys were suffering from the side effects of blood pressure medication. Yeah. So, that was one of the first studies. Then they did a really interesting study with women going through menopause. They found women who did meditation twice a day, 10 to 15 minutes a day, had increased bone density compared to women who were going through menopause without meditation. So they were reversing osteoporosis, believe it or not, with meditation on a daily basis. Now, a real important caveat here. This isn't like you do meditation whenever you feel like it.
Right.
These are people that get really structured, and they were doing it twice a day for 10 to 15 minutes a day. About any healthy habit, and you and I are talking about our body as a temple.
Yes.
Any healthy habit has to be done like 6 days a week to have an effect, quite frankly. You can't exercise twice a week and expect major changes, but you can at 6 days. You can't eat clean once or twice a week and then eat crap for 5 days and have a great temple that you're carrying around. And meditation is the same thing. We want people to understand that with the daily use of meditation, you can see a decrease in high blood pressure, sleep. Oh my God. Yeah. In 1987, when I started doing meditation, I was introduced to meditation in 1974. And I thought it was a bunch of hooey nonsense. And I did. I thought
really?
I did. I walked into this room, Karen, everyone's dressed in white. Everyone's got Birkenstocks on. And I'm looking around going, this is for kooks.
Was
this
that transcendental meditation by chance?
It was TM.
TM, yeah.
Yeah. And I was at Syracuse University, and I was an athlete back then. So I'm on the basketball team, and one of my roommates, actually, a woman, said to me, David, you are so stressed out with school and sports and everything, you could really benefit from meditation. So I said, what the heck, I'll go with her. Well, we go into the place, and she's looking around like this is normal, and I'm looking around going, okay, this is insane. And I walked right out. But, in 1987, what's that, 13 years later?
Yeah.
Every year people were telling me I needed to meditate. It took me 13 years.
Well, but you guys has been doing it for like over 30 years now. So it might have taken a little bit to get started, but.
Yes, it did. And I started with an audio cassette, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We created a meditation audio, but I started with an audio cassette, and I tell people, like, the number one rule we tell people of meditation is don't try to do it on your own in the beginning. Don't read a book and sit down and go, oh, I'm going to follow this diagram. listen to someone's voice, allow someone to take you into the depths of meditation and relaxation. And then after a while, you can get used to following a voice. Then you can push the voice aside and do it on your own, right?
Yeah.
But I could never have done it on my own. So I listened to an audio cassette for 365 days in a row.
Wow, David. Now that's commitment. That's
Yeah.
really honorable and
Yeah.
admirable.
And then at the end of doing that, I could do it on my own. And then I took a transcendental meditation intensive course. That was back in 1988. And then I've been following and doing TM and a bunch of different, meditation techniques ever since. But I say this share this with your audience. A lot of you guys are already meditating, and you might find one or two things on our program that are different, unique, or just fun to listen to. But for people that aren't meditating at least 6 days a week, and I'm going to go back to that, you can take one day off, but for you to get the benefits that we're talking about, decreased stress, increased immune system functioning, increased bone density. One thing I didn't mention, well, decrease in high blood pressure for sure. But then they also did studies with prisoners. And I mean, you want to talk about how powerful this is? Well, David Lynch, the David Lynch Foundation, is all about promoting meditation. I mean, this guy has put so much money into schools, teaching kids how to meditate, and they took it into prisons, and they did a major study in prisons. They found that prisoners that did meditation twice a day, 10 to 15 minutes, had a 50% less recidivism rate or return to prison rate than those people who didn't meditate. Now, that's pretty crazy.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. So the benefits are across the board for men, for women. It's not a girly thing. It's not a woo-woo thing. It's not a guru thing. It's like for all of us to get really deep within ourselves. What you said earlier, it's another step to self-care. And when you treat your body, mind, and spirit with love and respect, you're going to get a lot back.
And I want to add to that. On this channel, David, we talk a lot about self-empowering and also ways when we become more powerful within the seat of ourself, within our core, we can expect great things to magnetize towards us. And we talk a lot about bringing in positive energies and vibrations and connecting with those. And so you guys, what he's talking about today, and this is why I love David coming on the show and talking to him, is because he does talk about changing the vibration of yourself. And he's going to talk about mostly through meditation, although he's given us other examples how this is going to affect other areas of our life, but how that in itself will help you shift your vibration. And this will help you do some of those things we talk about in this channel, such as reaching your spirit guides and the angels and all these other beings that are there to help you. It's through your frequency and vibration. And I'm a practitioner. I practice meditation, a few different types myself. And I think, David, that when you said there's different ways to do it, and I love that you say, read the book, go to somebody, study under people at first, and then try different techniques to find what works for you. And then by the time you get to a certain age, I don't know, we're a little older, when you get to a certain age, you after so many years, you fine tune it yourself and it becomes your own. And so I love that you say that, and you don't have to go one way. You can do one way, but I tend to do a multiple ways, and the 4 ways that are on his audio, which I've listened to. By the way, you guys all get it for free here.
That's
We're
right.
going to send you to it to get it for free. I've listened to it. It has the 4 different techniques that I've learned as well, and I love them. And there's others you can do. So I'm thrilled that we're talking about this today. This is timely because when you feel so out of sorts with the world and with yourself at times, this is what brings you back to the seat of yourself. Your temple.
Oh, Karen, that's perfectly said. We all need a grounding space. Like we even share with people, and I know you do this too, is create a sacred space in your bedroom, in your home, a little altar. Your altar can be a candle on a table, okay? It doesn't have to be like some overblown thing, or it can be. It depends on where you want to go with it. But when you set that sacred space and you light the candle or you light the incense or whatever, you enjoy doing. And of course, you don't have to do any of that either, but it does sort of set the mood. And then one thing that we want to talk about, self-care is all about discipline. That's really what self-care is. And meditation at first can be frightening to some people, can be scary, can be hard, can be difficult. But it's about getting into the practice of discipline, because once you do, the benefits will far outweigh the time you're spending. It will far outweigh the initial stumbling. Like I said earlier, I tried on my own. I didn't mention this, but I tried forever to meditate before I found an audio cassette.
Okay.
because people were telling me, just sit and be
Oh
quiet,
yeah, that's really tough. That's really tough to do. That's why I love your compilation you put together, because everybody goes, you got to go on a mountaintop, and I said no, because it doesn't work for everybody that way.
It doesn't, and this is something that I found out. I found this out years after creating the audio program that we're going to give away. Is that I ran into a doctor and I was talking to her about the meditation. She said, "Let me try it. Let me, send me what you use." And I sent it to her. And I said to her, I can't believe that we're having not only people improving sleep, but then I'm going to share about Parkinson's disease and what's happened with clients who've used Parkinson's, people going through a divorce. We have stories of people that just focused on meditation prior to going into divorce hearings and how their life changed. And this doctor said to me, "Well, you created this audio, right?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, you must know that each of those different audio programs that you created hits a different area of the brain."
I love that.
And
Wow.
I said, "I didn't know that."
Wow.
And she goes, "David, you created this whole program and you didn't even know what you were creating?" And I said, "No, I just intuitively followed what I was told to create."
Love
right?
it.
You know that, Karen.
Yeah, when you listen to yourself, that higher part of yourself, the higher self, or the inspiration that flows through, you tend to hit things right on, and this is what you did.
It was amazing. And I said, "You've got to be kidding me." And she goes, "No, I'm not kidding you." But she said, "David, the reason the audio is so effective for so many different things is because you're hitting all four quadrants of the brain. You're doing it in a really different way." And so let's talk about the four different types of meditation relaxation on the program. We have progressive relaxation, which is a tightening and a releasing of all the major muscles of the body. It's probably one of the greatest ways to begin to relax. I just love it. We have the breath technique, where you just follow the breath in and out of the body. Now, remember what this doctor shared. When you're doing the muscular progressive relaxation, tightening and releasing, you're hitting a certain area of the brain. When you're doing the breath and all you're doing is following the breath in and out, and Karen and I are going to take you through this before I leave today.
Oh, good.
It's the simplest form of meditation, right?
I love it.
That you're hitting another part of the brain when you use a mantra. Any type of a mantra. You can make up, on the audio, we say you can make up your own mantra. If you go to TM, a Transcendental Meditation clinic, they're going to give you a mantra. There are other teachers that you go to that may give you a mantra, or you can make up your own and use a mantra. That hits a different area of the brain. And then the fourth one, which is creative visualization, hits a totally different area of the brain. So the reason the audio program that we created has been so effective for all these different maladies and concerns that people have is because there's a certain one for different areas, unbeknownst to me, the creator.
Well, it makes sense if you're doing something with visualizing, using more of a certain part of your brain, as opposed to breathing changes where it totally makes sense. I didn't think of it that way before, David, but listening and thinking about it now, and I use mantras, and I'll use visualization, I use progressive, I use breath, I used to do holotropic breath work as part of my meditation. You guys, I can see where it changes your sensations in your body and where it's being pulled around, which affects which part of your brain is doing it. Totally makes sense. But this is cool because you have now, you have all these studies behind it, but you have also the doctors behind it saying, look what you're doing here, how it's effective. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's we had a gentleman that he had extremely high blood pressure, extremely high blood sugar levels. His doctor was putting him on insulin shots. He was outrageously afraid of needles. And he came to me and he said, "Hey, my doctor's given me 90 days to totally change my blood sugar levels and my high blood pressure, or I'm going to go on this very high dose of high blood pressure medication, and one of the side effects, it'll destroy his sex life." And he knew that. and then going on needles, for insulin, he's petrified of needles, and he said, "I won't do it. I'll end up having to lose a leg or a foot or something unless we can turn it around." Karen, here's the coolest thing in the world. He did the audio program we created for meditation relaxation is 44 minutes long. He did it 7 days a week for 90 days. Now, we also removed sugar from his diet because of his high blood sugar levels.
Health is important. We got to look at the nutrition we're taking into our bodies too. You're absolutely right. I'm glad you hit on that. Okay, good.
Yeah. So we got rid of all sugar. We got him out of the fast food restaurants, and we had him preparing meals at home. And when he went back in 90 days, the doctor said, "You've got to be kidding me. What's going on here?" And so his name was Tom, and Tom goes, "Oh my God, did I do something wrong?" And the doctor said, How did you turn around your complete blood history profile in 90 days? And so he started sharing, well, I got rid of sugar and I got rid of junk food. And he goes, okay, but what else did you do?
Yeah.
And he said, 44 minutes of meditation, 7 days a week. And his doctor looked at him and said, keep all your changes, especially the meditation.
I love it.
And that was so cool coming from an MD, right? And this was 2 years
Yeah.
ago in 2017, like a medical doctor understanding the power of
Yes.
meditation,
Yes.
right? And why did he overeat and why was he addicted to sugar? His anxiety, Karen, was through the roof. He had 2 little kids, a wife and him that weren't getting along. He was doing a job that was incredibly stressful. He had no self-care. Now,
Yes.
here's the caveat. He had to get up at 5 a.m. to do the 44 minutes of meditation because it was the only time in the day it would work for him. The first 7 days, he said he was swearing in my name every day at 5 a.m.
I signed up for what?
Exactly. You know, like, I do not, his mantra was, I hate David Essel, but I'm going to do the meditation. I hate David Essel, but I'm going to do the meditation. And I said, Tom, you can hate me all you want. Just do the meditation.
Well, you know, it's great that he decided to push through that, because that's hard, you guys, in the very beginning. If you get through, like a week, but solidly, if you get through something solidly in 30 days, it becomes a habit.
Yeah, you can, like, at first it's not going to feel good for those who haven't meditated. So let's just get that out of the way. We're not Pollyanna.
It's gonna be like, what? Your mind's gonna go everywhere.
Yes. And that reminds me of something I want to share. And I learned this from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi through transcendental meditation, is that the point of meditation, when Maharishi taught me himself, was not to eliminate thoughts. Okay. So a lot of times people say, well, I had a crappy meditation session because I kept thinking.
Yeah.
And I kept going back to my breath or my mantra or my progressive relaxation, trying to stop those thoughts. And what I was taught back in 1988 is the point of meditation is not to stop the thoughts, it's to observe them and let them go.
Float on by like little clouds is what one of my yoga teachers taught me years ago. See them as clouds and say, okay, I dismiss you. Thank you, dismiss you. Boom, 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 boom. They just float on by.
Yeah, but don't fight them and don't say, well, it would have been a good session if I wasn't thinking, because over time, and I remember, Karen, going back to 87, when I was trying to do it on my own, I quit constantly because all I kept thinking about was I was hungry, I had bills to write, I still had to get to the gym, I still had this, and I thought I was doing it wrong. I thought, well, when you're meditating, you're not supposed to have any thoughts. And then I learned through TM that it's okay to have thoughts, just allow them to release, notice them, and just like you said, allow them to pass by, notice them. But the cool thing is, the longer you practice, the less you'll notice the thoughts, because you'll be going deeper into your own space.
I love that. And one of the byproducts that I get from meditation is, and I don't go into it for this purpose, is I will get such great inspiration. And I will sometimes get ideas while I'm in there, although I'm not purposely trying to go there for that reason, but I'll get flashes of insight that come to me during that time. And I think it's because it's a time when I've slowed down enough that I can receive advice and guidance from guides and other beings that really have some important information or inspiration to provide me.
I love that. I love that. Be open. As viewers of Karen's show, you know that she's been doing this a very long time. Be open to her words. Be open to just flowing with this. And the other thing is, if you fall asleep, fine. Like, don't judge anything. That's probably one of the greatest things that I learned in all these years of learning about it before I taught it, was that whatever happens, allow it to unfold. Don't judge yourself. The longer you do it, the better you're going to get. The longer you do it, the more benefit. Like I know that when I go into really awesome meditations, I'll come out and I'll go, oh my God, 30 minutes went by?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that true, Karen? It's
yes, it is.
Holy crap, I just closed my eyes 10 seconds ago and 30 minutes have gone. It's like the greatest feeling in the world. I love it.
And you just get so immersed in it. It's like when you guys do something you really, really love and you just lose track of time. This is one way to suspend time and at the same time, you recharge yourself in that period, whatever time it is. Like you just mentioned, it could be like that where you were sitting there for 20 or 30 minutes. I have that happen every now and then, not all the time, but I do have that happen every now and then. I'm just amazed when that timer goes off. I'm like,
Oh,
what?
it's incredible. And the other thing, going back to anxiety, if you think of the different teachers that have been around a long time, well, Maharishi is no longer with us. He's the founder. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was
TM.
the founder of TM, right?
Yeah.
He's no longer with us. But I interviewed him on my radio show, and
Oh.
I swear to God, this guy was filled with such joy, Karen. He giggled at every freaking question I asked him. And if you've ever seen the Dalai Lama in
Yeah,
interviews,
he's that way.
he giggles all the time,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of amazing teachers in the world of spirituality and personal growth that have been doing a meditation for so long that it actually brings them that space of joy. It doesn't mean they don't get frustrated and angry at times, but their main space in this world is one of understanding, compassion, contemplation, joy, laughter. Maharishi and Dalai Lama, they laugh their butts off. They're giggling constantly, And
That's so funny.
it is so
Why
cool.
why do you think that is, that once you go into that space over time and time and time, you get better and more clear? Why do you think that is, that it just, I don't know, your life changes on that level where it's just kind of funny and silly and joyful? How does just meditation do that?
I think it's similar to when your computer isn't working and you reboot it and it comes back great.
So your
Your
cache kind of cleans out?
Yeah, it's like we're slowing the world down.
Yeah.
We're really I don't think you can get any slower than meditation. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Or deep sleep maybe, but
Yeah, right. But a conscious choice to do an activity that brings you into that space. I don't know if there's too many. Like when I forget the guy's name, I interviewed him several times. He wrote the book Flow. He has a last name which is like 17,000
I read the
vowels.
book Flow.
Yeah. All there is vowels. His whole last name is just one big vowel. It's
Yeah.
so I can never pronounce his last.
In fact,
first
I
name
have
is
the book in
Mikhail.
my library. Gosh
Yeah.
darn it.
His first name is Mikhail, and his last name begins CH, and then it's a bunch of
Yeah.
whatever. But anyway, he mentioned, when athletes are in flow, that they lose sense of time.
Yeah.
Meditators, when they're in flow, they lose sense of time. And that allows the immune system to slow and to heal. It allows all of the insanity. The Buddhists say 10,000 monkeys in a cell is what the brain
Yep.
is. That's anxiety, that's depression, that's low self-esteem, that's low self-confidence. All of that stuff is here. Well, with meditation, we're slowing all of that down to get to the core of who we are. Depending on how spiritual you want to take the conversation, there are people that'll say that when you go into the space of meditation or relaxation and hit no thought, meaning you forgot to use the mantra, like you were using a mantra to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and then all of a sudden you just let go, you're one-on-one with the divine.
That's so funny. That's exactly what I was going to say. You're one with source.
Yes.
You become source in that moment because you're connected. Absolutely.
Perfect.
I love that you brought that up.
I'm getting huge chills right now.
Yeah, me
okay?
too, because
Oh,
that's the truth of it all.
It is.
That's how you raise your vibrations, by going within
Thank
and
you.
connecting with that source. It's all done within. So thank you for saying that too.
Yeah, it is probably the most beautiful thing that we can ever experience, and if you think about the Sufis, which is, a form of Islam, actually, it's a
The
Muslim.
whirling dervishes, I love that. I love those Sufis.
And that's what I was just gonna say. The whirling dervishes, through activity. Now they do it through dance.
Yes.
But they go into the same state of flow where they lose themselves. They don't even know they're dancing. When you're in meditation, following the program that we offer, you'll do it. When you do it enough, you'll get to a place where you forget to breathe and follow the breath. You'll forget to squeeze and release the muscles because you're in such a deep space that there's nothing else to do but just ride that wave. And it's beautiful.
And you renew yourself, revitalize yourself.
Oh,
become
big time.
re-energized. From that simple thing of going within. It's just amazing.
And let's look at one of the studies I mentioned before, to how much the physical body loves meditation, is that we're seeing a regrowth of bone.
That's
We're
amazing.
Seeing women with osteoporosis coming back in with that wrist test, or they've got all kinds of MRI stuff they can do now too. But the most simple of bone density tests is just a wrist test that you can do in any doctor's office. And they're going, oh my God, there's been an increase in your bone density. What have you been doing? Wow. And, in the past people say, well, I've been eating more, taking more calcium in or whatever.
Yeah.
that doesn't do it anywhere near as effectively as meditation.
So just by silencing or slowing things down, it gives your body that chance, as you mentioned earlier, just to heal.
Yeah, it's a rejuvenation.
It's just
It's a
amazing.
total rejuvenation. There's also in all these studies that the government did, another one they did is with addiction. And they found that alcoholics that would practice 2 times a day had a much greater chance of getting sober than those that were not practicing a meditation technique. So there isn't a part of our existence that isn't positively affected, including decrease in anxiety,
Jeez.
like meditation can.
It's a win-win, and no matter what is going on in your life.
Yeah. And
know?
there's no negative side effects. Like there's nothing negative that can come out of it. You get on enough medication. Jesus, excuse my French. We have all kinds of clients that we've worked with over the years via Skype and phone from all over the country that are on all kinds of antidepressants, anxiety meds. Now, I will say this. I am not a doctor. I'm going to make this point very, very clear.
Yeah, we got to be clear about that, right? Okay.
Yeah. I don't prescribe medication. I don't tell people to get off of it, but I do this. When I'm working with a client that's been on a Paxil or a Wellbutrin or a Zoloft or a Lexapro for any number of years.
Anxiety, depression.
Yeah, because of anxiety and depression, Xanax, clonazepam, all the major meds, I will work with their doctor and I will ask them to join me on helping to decrease the dosage of these medications because, quite frankly, I'm not a fan of any of them. Now, if you're suicidal, that's a totally different ballgame. If you're bipolar, totally different ballgame. If you're schizophrenic, totally different ballgame, right? But for the average person that's on anti-anxiety, antidepressant, we can help dramatically through the use of techniques like meditation and relaxation to, if not totally get them off the drugs, to diminish them greatly. Because if anyone watching right now has been on a Paxil or an antidepressant for 10, 15, 20 years, Karen, the side effects of trying to get off it are hellacious.
Very hard, absolutely. And you guys never get off it on your own. Do work with a professional because you take it off immediately, you're going to shut down and hurt your system.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's havoc, yeah. So I'm glad we brought that up. That's important. So there's so much you can do with this. So why don't we start with one of the meditations and let's kind of like walk us through it. Give us something we can use right now, you guys. When you're watching a show, when you're done with this, go practice.
Okay, I'm going to give you 2 since you said that. Let me give you 2.
We'll take 2.
So the first one is progressive relaxation, and all you do is you can do it sitting or laying down. Don't do it while you're driving a car.
Right. None of these, don't do any of these when you're driving a car, you guys.
No, nothing, right? No. Don't even listen to the audio program.
No, because you will. You'll start getting sleepy and tired and breathing.
Do you remember, Karen, years ago there was a rental car company that did an ad on TV? They did it for months. It was the funniest ad in the world. They had all these people sitting around like an advertising group, and they were saying, how are we going to promote, do something different to promote this rental car? And so one of the people in this group, it was a fake group, sitting at the table said, well, people that rent rental cars a lot of times they're on business trips and they're filled with anxiety. Why don't we create a rental car that's filled with relaxation,
No. When you drive, you kind of have to be on your game. You have to be on your game, looking around, what's going on.
Exactly. So then the next scene is there's these 4 business people in a rental car, and there's incense burning on the front dashboard. They got this chant music going on, and everyone's going like this, waking up to drive. And then they come back to the group scene, they're going, that's probably not a good idea. Guys,
back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. It was cute. Cute. So outside of your car, sitting or lying down, progressive relaxation says this: we're going to tighten and release every major muscle of the body. So just start with your hands, and just really squeeze them as tight as you can, and then relax them.
I always pair the breath with this for some reason. That's what I've always done. Do you pair your breath with it?
I don't, but it's a great idea too. Sure.
Yeah.
And relax. And one more time, really squeeze. Okay, and relax. All right. Now we're going to go and you're going to close your eyes, and I want you to scrunch your face as much as you can. Okay, so this is going to look great, Karen. We're going to be all stars at this one. You can watch me. And you don't have to do it. Since you're the star of the show, I'll be goofy.
I'll do it.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So close your eyes and Scrunch your eyes, squeeze your eyes as tight as you can, and then open them as wide as you can.
And the mouth too.
Yeah, and the mouth.
Everything.
And then squeeze tight as you can, and then open. Eyes and mouth wide open.
Because the idea is to go through each major part of your body and work yourself all the way through, because do you know how that feels when you're just sitting there just doing this? I'm thinking, I've been working all day on my computer, all this stuff I'm doing, and only time I get out is when I go for my walk, and I just sometimes during the day will do this, what you're doing, and it only has to take a few minutes. But we're talking about making this into a meditation though. So
yeah, and then we say this is a great way to enter meditation.
Yes.
This is a great and we call this a relaxation technique versus a meditation technique.
Right.
Progressive relaxation is more of a relaxation. So we're preparing the body to go deep. Another one of them is the breath technique. Now, this is one of my favorites because it's the closest to TM, or transcendental meditation, that we can get. Now, with TM, they give you a mantra, and every time you breathe in, you silently repeat the mantra to yourself, and every time you breathe out. Well, with the breath technique, all we do is you can close your eyes, as long as you're not driving and watching the show. Close your eyes, and then inhale. And as you inhale, just say silently to yourself the word in. And then as you exhale, just silently say to yourself the word out. And then do it again. Inhale. And as you exhale, silently say the word out. Now, on the audio, we go through many minutes of this technique so you can really go deep. And as you go deep and you practice this, Karen, this is where you're going to go into that union with the divine. Yes. This is one of the most powerful forms of meditation, where all you're doing is saying in and out, and all you're focusing on is the breath in and out of your body, and with your eyes closed. And when you practice this enough, you'll get to a point where you forget to say in and out.
I love this because just doing those 3 breaths with you, because I use breath work and all the stuff I do and the stuff I talk about on the show. That's one of the ways I make the connection with the guides that I talk about all the time. Immediately when I do just a few breaths, I automatically go in that space where I'm ready to channel, because it's out of practice. And so that, to me, is one of my favorite ones to do, is just the breath itself.
It's beautiful. You know, you can do it anywhere. You can do it in a taxi, on a bus, on a plane. You know, and I'll tell you, one of the greatest things that happened in my personal life was back in 1988 when I was finally meditating on my own. I was traveling 40 weeks a year as a speaker. Oh, yeah. And so when you're traveling that many weeks, it's really stressful.
Talk about anxiety.
Yeah. You know, catching flights and catching connections and going into a city you've never been in before and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what I found is that on the flight, I would meditate. I would say to the cabbie, how long is the drive to the airport? And if he said it's 45 minutes to an hour, I'd go out into my meditation.
Oh, fantastic, David.
You know, and it's just a way that when you're stressed and when you're anxious and when you're driving, or, you know, in cities that you're not familiar with, or you've got 10 minutes at work and you're driving yourself crazy, go into the bathroom, close the door in a stall, and do these exercises. And I'm not teasing when I say that. You know, it's like really important for your self-care, that when you feel that anxiety rising, the depression rising, the craving for drugs, food, alcohol rising, that's the time to use one of these 4 techniques.
Well, and also I want to add to that too, David. Just the breath thing alone has become a very empowering thing for me. It allows me to get into my heart and also into my sacred sacrum area and ground. That I use it, you guys, when I go into business meetings. I use it, in fact, before I do interviews with people. You guys know it. I use it when I do my sessions on this channel and show. But I use it to empower myself, because these techniques will take you into that place.
It will. They will change, literally, once you get to it'll change your life. Once you get into the habit of doing these 7 days a week, once you get into that routine, you will start to see all kinds of shifts in your life. And I mean that. You'll find that you're not as quick to argue. You'll find you're not as quick to defend a point. You'll find you're not as quick to take things personally. You'll find you're not as interested in the news. I swear to you, when you start to bring your vibration into a really powerful space, those things that create negative energy and negative vibration, you'll start to slowly pull away from. Now, hold on, because that might be people. There could be people in your life right now right, Karen? That
Absolutely. Toxic people or psychic vampires, what do you want to call them?
yes, yeah,
When
that's
you
right.
change your vibration, everything else has to change too.
It does, and it'll either meet it and feel good, or you'll meet it and it won't feel good. And that's where you have to practice your intuition, going, wow, I've lowered my anxiety. I've lowered my whole
Mm-hmm.
state of being. I've raised my energy
Mm-hmm.
levels through being grounded, right? And hanging out with person A that I used to 50% of the week, now I'm going to do 10% of the week.
Yeah.
And, where I used to text person B 3 or 4 times a day, I'm going to start doing it once a day or once every 3 or 4 days. And we'll start to pull away from those individuals and activities that are not for our highest good.
Yeah, we start learning to make better decisions with ourselves. And this is
Absolutely.
part of the self-care as well. And the word that kept coming to me, David, I want to share with you when you were talking about self-care and the body's a temple, the word I have is devotion. Devotion to yourself. It's such a powerful phrase or
Love
word that
that.
or mantra for me. And so it's something that I've been working on. In fact, in my altar, you guys, I took one of my favorite oracle deck cards by Cher, and I'll share her deck information below. But I used her card Devotion, and it's on my altar right now. And I pick a card and I'll use it for a period of time, and that'll be my focus for my own awakenings and stuff. So something you guys can do as well. When you do this work, you can think of the word devotion and how you're devoting this time to yourself to express this clarity that will start coming into your life, is what David's really talking about, the clarity and the ability to discern.
And you're devoting time for you now. I love
Yes.
that word devotion.
In
That is
fact,
a
it came out of some meditations I was doing a while. Look, well, it's been this year, so it's been the last few months. And I thought, you know what? And I just said, I'm going to pick a card, and whatever card I pick is going to be the card I'm going to put into my meditation. And it was devotion. I thought, how perfect is that? Because what I do is one of the things I'm working on is raising my energy, my chakras for the third eye. I'm doing a lot more third eye activation stuff. And the word devotion came, and then the card was drawn. I said, okay, woo woo, it's going on my altar. Let's
I
keep this
love it.
energy going. So,
Yes.
yeah. This is a way
Yeah.
to incorporate these practices into the altar work or into your own spiritual practices you have.
And remember this too. This can start out at 3 to 4 minutes a day.
I
Even though,
agree.
right? Even though our audio is 44 minutes long, if you get through the first 5, 6 minutes and you go, okay, that was a good start. It is a good start. If you're not meditating, 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 minutes is awesome. So
But your 45-minute audio though is broken down into four
yeah,
parts. Maybe you
four
want to talk
different.
about that a little bit.
Yeah, and it's one of the I think when and I'm going to tell this story. Don't let me forget to tell this my favorite story about a Parkinson's patient.
Oh, wonderful.
But
Okay.
because it was such a huge turnaround in a disease that is so debilitating.
Oh, yes.
But when we're doing it, the reason we did 4 different ones is that we wanted people who were really interested in going deep to be able to follow different practices in order to go to spaces that they may not be able to go to with just one practice, especially in the beginning. So, we have the progressive relaxation, we have the breath technique. Next up, we do the mantra repetition. Wayne Dyer, the late Wayne Dyer, said to me the very first time I interviewed him in 1990, he was such an angel.
Yeah, he's
And
wonderful.
and I had been only meditating 2 years then, and I think he had probably been meditating 20 years by then. And we were talking about the mantra, and he said to me, the mantra is just your vehicle. You drive a car to get from New York to LA, and you follow the mantra as a vehicle to go into the God within, to go into the
Very
divine.
nice.
And
Wonderful
I
way
thought
of
that
looking
was
at it.
great. So the mantra is a vehicle. Now, on
Great.
the audio program, we say the mantra can be love, the mantra can be God, the mantra can be Ram, which
Rom, I
is
like Rom because that's like solar plexus energy there.
very much so, Karen.
Yeah.
And the one of the things that I love about Ram, for most of
I do
us,
too.
unless you're Hindu, it doesn't have a meaning. And that's what's powerful about transcendental meditation. If you go through the training, the mantra they give you has no meaning in this world at all. So the conscious mind can't attach to it and think God and see a picture of a guy with a long beard, for say, right?
Right.
Or however you envision God. So one of the cool things, and one of the reasons that we use Ram on the audio program, is that if you don't want to use love or sun or one or God or any of the other options we give you, use Ram, because it has a deep spiritual meaning.
It does.
But to the average American, it doesn't mean anything. So it's a perfect, way to sort of trick the brain into using something to go deeper. So
Well, it's one of the mantras. The Ram sound itself is with the solar plexus chakra. It goes Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, and Om. And these are and I guys, I work with mantras. These are ways to start working with your chakras. That's more advanced teachings. But I love that it was Ram. And I was like, when I was listening, I was like, yeah, this is one of my. That's like a power. So in the center of your body, you guys, it's like a power sound. But it's like you said, it could be associated with nothing. So it allows you just to use the energy, but know that you're activating frequencies. It's a wonderful way to, if you include the breath, the visualization, and the mantra together, now you're going to be firing up your brain in really cool ways to, help it relax.
Absolutely, Karen.
It's crazy how this just stacks.
It is crazy. When the doctor told me that about, you created this meditation that hit, and I was totally shocked. And she laughed and she said, "You don't even know what you're doing." And I said, "Nope, I'm just following."
But it's working. It's working with my clients and patients.
I know, it's so fun.
You've got to tell us about this Parkinson now.
Oh yeah. Oh, let me just mention really quickly the last section. The last section.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to the fourth one.
Yeah.
Duh.
Creative visualization.
Yes, I love that.
Obviously uses a totally different portion of the brain. And let's go back, Karen, to what you mentioned earlier about anxiety. So with the creative visualization, we actually have you on the beach. You're smelling the suntan oil. You're feeling the warmth of the sun in the sand. And then you're putting your worries, your anxiety, your fears, your insecurities into a balloon that floats away. So here we're activating a release mechanism for you to let go. And
to remove it from you.
Absolutely. Yes.
These are powerful techniques we use in hypnosis, you guys. These are powerful techniques.
That's right. That's right. And so all of this, Karen, interesting that you say that, it's a form of self-hypnosis.
Yeah.
Which is what this whole audio program is really about. All right, so let me tell you the Parkinson story. And listen, and this is one of the things in my life, and I'm pretty sure you're the same way. There's a lot of people. Now, I worked as a counselor in the 80s, and I was mainly working with athletes and bodybuilders with their brains. And then in 1990, I went from the world of counseling into what we call a hybrid program using therapeutic techniques from the world of counseling plus life coaching.
Yes.
And life coaching is really assignments and homework. That's the difference between psychotherapy and life coaching. Psychotherapy helps us go deep into the whys. Where did this start? Why did this start? What's going on with this anxiety, depression, all that kind of stuff. And then in the world of life coaching, it's okay, over the next 7 days, let's try A, B, C, D, and E.
Yes.
So that's sort of the program that we created. I have no background in working with Parkinson's patients. I have no background with working with a lot of medical patients that we work with. But one day I got a call from a guy and he said, "Hey, my wife is suffering with Parkinson's. Do you have any experience in this area?" And I said, "Not at all." And he goes, "Well, would you want to meet with her?" I said, "Absolutely." He said, "But you have no experience." I said, "You're correct. Do you think you can help? Do you think you can help her?" I said, "Absolutely." And so he said, "Okay, you sound confident. I don't know why you do, but you are." I go, "I am. Bring her in." So we come in and she's sitting there talking. And then I asked her husband to leave. And he left the room. And then I said to her, "Tell me a story about how this is really bothering you," because she wasn't really saying much with him there. So the very first thing is she said, "Well, David, I came down with the shaking probably about 8 months to a year ago, and it got so bad that we used to go on cruises 2 to 3 times a year. We're retired. We've been saving money because that's what we love to do. And as of a year ago, I quit going because I was so embarrassed to be on a cruise and to sit at a dinner table and to have my hands shaking. I couldn't handle it. And, it's hurt my husband and my relationship because that's what we did for joy, for fun. And now we're not doing anything." And I said, "Tell me another story." And she said, "Okay, last night we sat to watch a movie in the living room. My husband was all excited. He went out and got this special movie for me to watch with him. Within 10 minutes, I had to get up and leave because my hands were shaking so violently that I felt uncomfortable that I might affect him." Now, it wasn't affecting him. He's used to it. So this was all internal on her part, like taking on the worries of the world, even with her husband, right? So, and she said, "So what I do now is I watch TV for 10 minutes and then I get up and I'll refold laundry. I'll put plates away again. I'll do something to move so I'm not recognizing the shaking of my hands." What do you think we could do? So I said, well, I'll tell you what, I have this audio program and, you're really stressed. And at the very least, I don't know if it'll do anything for your Parkinson's, but I know it's going to help decrease the stress that you're carrying about the condition. So let's keep working together. And every week when you come in, I'm going to give you assignments to think about and to do. But the most important thing, 7 days a week, do the 44-minute audio.
Wow, she was able to sit still and was able. Oh.
Now, she said that for the first 2 weeks. Now, I didn't see her for a month.
Okay.
And she said for the first 2 weeks, it was the hardest thing in the world for her to do, because she is always anticipating her shaking hands. So, in my belief system, if you're always anticipating something, it's probably going to double its negativity, right?
Yeah.
So, she's anticipating. But here's the cool thing that happened. At the end of 14 days, she was going to quit using the audio program because she said it was just driving her nuts trying to sit for 44 minutes and listen to this thing. On the 15th day, she went into the space with a divine, we call it, right? She went into the space, and 44 minutes later, she came out and had no idea the 44 minutes were gone.
There we go.
It was the most profound awakening for her. 6 months later, they're back cruising.
Really?
Her hands went from, and this is literally when she came into the office, this is what I would see on her lap. Her hands were.
Poor dear.
And then all of a sudden we're seeing this.
Oh my gosh.
We're seeing this most amazing radical change, Karen.
That's fantastic.
It was just awesome. Now,
well, is this because you're hitting all the areas of the brain again? Is this what
that's what the doctor told me when I said to the doctor,
dang.
How is this affecting positively decreasing, the anxiety and the stress with Parkinson's and the actual physical movements? And she just went right back and she said, David, it couldn't if it wasn't hitting all 4 areas of the brain. Because it is, that's why you're seeing the success you're seeing. Now, Karen, you and I both know that you can have a program that 75 out of 100 people it'll work for and 25 it won't.
Sure.
So we're not making a claim here that
right.
This is a cure for Parkinson's or every person.
This is not a panacea for everything.
No, it's not. But it's so powerful that if you would give it 30 straight days.
I agree.
If you'll just give it a strong, powerful, you will see positive, powerful changes. But it won't come by doing it every once in a while. It has to be consecutive.
That's that whole thing about the 30-day, you guys. This is what you're taught when you're a hypnotist, that it takes 30 days to change a habit, create a new one, and that's what it's like some magic number when it actually starts to become a part of you and helps you and changes you. So they even say, like, when you take medication, it's usually in 30 days you'll start seeing the effects of it. Yeah. Well, in 30 days, it's something new, and you're setting up that standard of repeating it over and over, like taking the dosage of your meditation, you will see effects. That's a given.
Yes.
Magic 30 days.
It is. And now, just to remind everyone that when you sit down the first time and after 6 minutes you go, okay, this isn't for me.
Right.
I need to go for a run. I need to go watch my favorite TV show. Just take a big breath and go, okay, and let's do another 6 minutes tomorrow. And then the next day, let's do another 6 minutes tomorrow. Then the next day, let's do 10 minutes. And the next day, let's do 20 minutes. There's some of you out there that are going to get into this audio program and you're going to do the whole 44 minutes right away. And you're going to go, oh, my Lord. Good for you. Good for you. Do it. But if you have to start slower, that's okay, too.
And he hasn't broken down into segments in there. So you could like start with one day, you could start the progressive relaxation. And then if you want to increase that, then go into the breath work one. You could work into each one. But start somewhere, you guys. And now, David, where can they find this? I know it's for free. I went and watched it. Actually, I did find it on YouTube and also your website. But you want to tell them?
Yeah, it's the easiest place to find it is at our website, talkdavid.com, T-A-L-K David.com.
Yes.
Right when you go, right underneath the photo of Jenny McCarthy and
Easy to find.
Yeah, it's really easy to find. You'll see beautiful Jenny there,
oh, yeah.
and then underneath it, you'll see what's happening. And one of the what's happening is grab your free meditation relaxation audio here. Just click on the button. It'll take you right there. And then you can listen to it. I mean, it's absolutely free. Listen to it for the rest of your life. But get into the habit of it the minute you can. The sooner you go, the quicker you start, the quicker the results.
Absolutely, you guys. No, David, that's a lot you share with us today. It's fantastic, powerful, personal medicine that you create yourself for free within your body to make those changes and shifts within your life. where can people find you? What else do you have going on? What's coming up on the horizon? I know you have a new novel. Let's tell the group about
Oh my
that.
gosh. Again, talkdavid.com. Karen, this new novel is the wildest thing I've ever written in my life. It's our 10th book. We're praying and we think it's going to go number one this year. We have our last 3 books have gone number one, and we think this one might. But this is the wildest story. And I never planned on really truly writing a romantic, erotic, sensual romance novel. That doesn't seem to be. As a matter of fact, a long
He
time.
writes self-help, you guys.
I know. I write self-help all the time, right? And one of my longtime followers got the book, and the other day he sent me an email that said, "Is this really David Essel who wrote this?" I never thought he would write an erotic, sensual novel, and. It was one of those things that just came. Karen, you talk about being channeled through. I didn't even write a freaking outline for this book.
Yeah, no, this is channeling, you guys. But
this is channeling.
Tell them you went somewhere to do this book. Tell them about that.
Yeah, so I went out to Maui to speak at a large conference for a bank, and because I had never been to Hawaii before, I decided to stay for 3 weeks. And I spent a week on Maui, a week on Oahu, and a week on Kauai.
Nice.
Now, I did not plan on writing this book at all. So I fly in on a Thursday. I speak in Maui on Friday. On Saturday morning, I'm at the pool, and I have a week there, and I'm just relaxing. I always have legal pads no matter where I travel.
I do too. I always have paper and pen. Absolutely.
Yeah, just writing notes or thoughts or gratitude or whatever. Okay, so I sit down, and now 50% of what's in the book actually happened, and 50% is the creative license that all writers have. So I'm sitting at the pool. 4 hours go by. I haven't stopped writing yet.
Wow.
I'm writing. I'm going through legal pads, and I race up to my room, and I call one of my best friends, Lee Witt in Seattle, and I said, "Hey, listen, dude, I'm in Hawaii. I just spent 4 hours. I didn't even think I was writing, but it sounds like it's going to be a book." And I read it to him, and his response was, "Get your butt back to the pool. Don't interfere this stuff is amazing," And Karen, the gist of it is that the lead star, his name is Sandy Tavish. He's a relationship columnist. He's a syndicated columnist in newspaper. He goes to Hawaii to relax, but also to try to understand the keys to deep love.
Aww.
And he runs into a 70-year-old retired surfer who happens to know every move Sandy is about to make and every move Sandy has already made in his life, and they've never met each other. Like, this guy is so tapped in. And what he does behind the scenes is that he's introducing Sandy to experiences and to women to teach him the 6 keys to deep love.
Ooh.
And it's wild, and Sandy finds himself in these positions, like he goes to this woman's house and she comes to the door basically nude in heels, and she just ended a relationship 3 days earlier, and she looks at Sandy and says, "You're the man I've been waiting for." And so Sandy's like, his brain is scrambled. He's seeing this gorgeous woman standing there, but there's a disconnect. Mm-hmm. Like, you just ended this relationship, but you want me for the rest of your life? And he gets put into all these positions. And at the end of the book, him and the angel end up writing about all of his experiences. And it comes out to the 6 most important keys to deep love. So it's a wild ride. Mm-hmm. It's mysterious. It's fascinating.
And there's a moral in it, what you're saying.
And there's a moral to it.
But what's the name of it? You haven't given us the title yet.
The title is Angel on a Surfboard, a mystical romance novel exploring the keys to deep love.
Oh, lovely. Oh, well, I wish you such great success with that.
Thank you, Karen. So, and all of the books are at talkdavid.com, obviously. So your listeners or your viewers can pick that up along with the free meditation, relaxation audio. And it's just always such a joy to be with you, honey. I love it.
I know, it's so great to have you on the show. Don't you guys just enjoy David's energy? It's just fun. I call it spiraling. When I'm with somebody and our energy connects and we just go to higher, like we got the chills, we got the sensations. I call it spiraling because you're kind of going in this beautiful vortex of energy together. And in that space you meet and commune, and then we're done, we unspiral and go our ways.
That's so beautifully said.
Well, that's what it feels like. I'm just saying what it feels like.
That's true. It's dead on, honey.
Well, any last final words you'd like to say to the audience here about anything you talked about today that you think is super important for them to have as their takeaway?
Yeah, start now. Don't
good.
like, look at the clock and go, I'll go get the audio tomorrow. I'll start this weekend. I'll start in June when, I have more time over the summer.
Yeah.
The key to personal growth and to evolvement and to awakening is to constantly grow and put yourself in a position to grow. You can't put yourself in a position by watching this interview and then saying, that's a great idea, I'll get to it next week. You put yourself in a position to heal, to grow, to love yourself more, because it is all about self-love, by acting now. So grab the audio today. Don't wait till a different day when you think it's going to be easier. It won't be. Just go and start now.
Yeah, there's no better moment than the moment of now.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
And then who told us that better than anyone was Eckhart Tolle.
I agree. Eckhart Tolle teaches you how to live in the moment of now. I love his work too, by the way.
Yeah,
Well, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show. It's been an absolute delight, as it always is, to have you, David. So thank you so much.
Karen, always my pleasure as well. I can't wait to do it again. We'll rock this world.
We always do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
And so, you guys, there's a gentleman who's always, as you can see, pushing the boundaries of space and time and getting lost in time. We talk about that a lot on this channel. One way to slow down, suspend time, is to get in the practice of meditation. It's a way to go in to release yourself from the worries and anxieties of the day and out here and get back into that seat of your soul, your God self, that connection back to your divine being and source that is right here for you in the now. So get out there right now, go get that audio. It's for free, guys, and get on it and start doing your meditation practice now and watch what will happen for your life as it unfolds in greater and greater ways. So thank you so much for joining me. This was Creative Visions TV. I'm Karen Dahlman, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye-bye.